full education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. So today I've got a very special episode. I'm reviewing the 25th anniversary edition of Dirty Dancing movie. If you haven't seen the movie, be prepared to hear what I have to say about this one. First of all, if you didn't know who I am, I'm Sandra Bellamy. I'm author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book. This is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble and Waterstone's website. And I'm also the author of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. So if you like if you like fibro superheroes, I was going to say, this is a book for you. Fibromyalgia, if you've got it, obviously you probably don't like that. But if you've got a love of superhero movies, autobiographical books, this is the one for you. So, yes, Dirty Dancing. I'm going to be reviewing this, right? I've just watched this, right? There's 2 discs in this film, in this DVD. So there's a 2-disc special edition. That's a movie. And then it comes with a ton of bonus features afterwards, and about 3/4 of the way through the bonus features. So it's a 25th edition because a 25th anniversary special edition because the movie came out in 1987. So it's a really old movie now, but it spanned generations. It's only a certificate 12. So there you go. And yes, so if you don't like spoilers, you've never seen this movie, you want to see it, please do not watch this video, but otherwise listen up. So this is one of my favorite dance movies from my childhood, I guess, although yeah, I'm not sure when I actually watched it, because it was 1987 when it came out according to the copyright, but I'm not sure when I actually watched this because it does have some sexual content in it. So Dirty Dancing is a dance movie, but also a love story. And basically what happens is this person here, Jennifer Grey's the actress, and she plays a character called Baby, whose real name is Frances, but her parents refer to her as Baby. She's got a sister called Lisa, and she's very, very innocent when she first goes to this like holiday camp with her parents and sister. So she's very, very like sweet, innocent, a virgin, and she hasn't had sex before as far as her film portrays. And she's meant to be very sweet, very innocent in that way. And, you know, what happens is she goes to this holiday camp with her parents, and her dad's a doctor, and her dad's like friends with the guy who owns this holiday camp place, and basically he's been inviting them, and it's taken 3 years to get the whole family to go there. So she's very sweet and innocent, obviously very different looking on this picture. This picture is more towards the end of the movie, right? But she's meant to be very, very sweet and innocent throughout the beginning of the movie. And as time progresses, what you find out is all the dancing that's done on the campsite is for show. This guy is called Johnny in the movie. He's played by Patrick Swayze, and lots of the women like Johnny, you know, and basically he is with some other dancers, and a lot of women are dropping him money and stuff to sleep with them, basically out of hours of the dancing. And so the dance lessons don't really end at dancing. They end up with him sleeping with women. But he explains in the movie how difficult it is to actually get consistent work as a dancer. And therefore, you know, 1 minute you're eating juju beans, the next minute you'll get women stuffing money and diamonds in your pocket because basically they want extra stuff to the dancing. And so what happens is Baby goes off the beaten track. She gets fed up with the kind of monotonous, boring, kind of like vanilla stuff, if you like, going on in the campsite. And she decides to take a walk. And when she takes this walk, she meets Johnny's brother. She carries this watermelon to help him up the steps, and it's going into the quarters of the staff only, where she's not supposed to be. So this is where she sees Johnny, not for the first time, but for the first time in this sexy dancing scene. So when she goes to the quarters of the staff, which she's not supposed to go to, she then with Johnny's cousin, Johnny's like sees her in the dance, like this dance room, and when she first goes in there, she's in absolute shock. Baby is, because she's been sweet and innocent and she's not been subjected to this type of dancing, which is a very, very sexual dancing. I mean, it's people thrusting their bodies backwards and forwards, people touching genitals through their trousers, and skirts and clothes, and stuff like that. So the dancing is very, very physical contact, but with clothes on usually. And the cousin says to baby, do you want to dance like that? And she's like, no, like I wouldn't want to do that, and her eyes are so shocked because she's always been like this sweet, innocent, never tell a lie girl, right, who's always done what daddy says and what daddy wants and is a daddy's girl, right? But when she's has her eyes open to all this dancing that's going on and everyone having so much fun, she's immediately drawn to Johnny. You can tell that throughout the movie. When she sees him dancing with his dance partner called Penny in the movie, actually in the dancing professionally in front of everyone for the holiday camp, you can tell she's kind of in awe of him. And then when she sees him in this room dancing with Penny in this kind of like it's staff quarters, which no one's supposed to know about what goes on, you see what they're really like, and they're doing all this very, very sexy dancing. They do a lot of physical touching, stroking the hair, kissing the chest, stroking down the arms, thrusting their bums and their genitalia and stuff like this, right? So obviously, if you're sex repulsed asexual, you're probably really going to hate this movie, unless you happen to be someone like me who still likes to do dirty dancing without actually having sex and with maintaining boundaries. So yes, I'm a person who watched this movie years ago and thought I really like that type of dancing. And I do actually really love dancing still to this day. I've broken my ankle again, so I can't dance anymore at the moment again. I plan to still change that around in my life. I still want to be able to dance again. So I'm starting all over again from scratch, like with a broken ankle again. I don't know how long it'll going to take me to get better. It took me like 6 months last time, pretty much. And my ankle's got a wider break this time. So I don't know, but I'm hopeful that I'm not going to be an invalid forever, right? So anyway, I've digressed, but I love dirty dancing, and that is very, very unusual for an asexual person. Most asexuals do not like genitalia touching and stuff like that, unless they're on the more grey end of the asexual spectrum, then they might. But I am personally sex repulsed asexual for me. So it's very strange me watching this now with my newfound knowledge of asexuality, that I'm asexual and stuff like that, right? Because I didn't know that I would actually I didn't actually know that I would that I would be interested in something like this years ago. It was like I was like a new person, a bit sweet and innocent like her. I didn't realize that that this was a thing people did. I was very much led a sheltered life, and when I actually saw this movie for the first time, I did actually really love the dancing, and it's very, very unusual, I think. But I didn't know I was asexual back then, and so it's very different watching this movie now. I haven't watched it, I don't think, since I realised I'm asexual in 2014. So I haven't watched it for years, and not the whole movie. I might have seen clips of it somewhere, but I haven't watched the whole thing, I don't think, that I can remember. And so it's very, very interesting to see that I still like doing that type of dancing, even though I'm asexual. But I've kind of got more boundaries now. Like I don't really like a guy. Well, I don't like a guy touching my top half, but then I wasn't really into that before. But touching my bum, I'm not. I'm more like the sides of it, fine, but full on, I'm not really into that. So yeah, it's kind of a bit weird because I got more boundaries than I used to, but you know, I can do this type of dancing in a club on the dance floor with a guy I really trust and feel comfortable with, who I'm really aesthetically attracted to. And so that's very, very strange, right? Because you wouldn't have thought an asexual would behave like that. But one major mistake people make is they think the lack of sexual attraction means the lack of sexual action. And this is where asexuality comes unstuck a bit, because there are a lot of asexuals who are sex repulsed, who don't want to do any sexual acts, don't have any sexual behavior. Some don't even experience arousal, and they're just not interested in sex in any way, shape, or form. And sometimes it just makes them feel sick and disgusted, right? There are a number of asexuals that are like that. But there are also some asexuals that are in relationships with heterosexuals, for example, or other sexuals, and they do have sex. Some asexuals don't mind doing some sexual acts, but they don't want to do the full sex themselves. So, but this movie is not a no sex movie. This movie has got a lot of scenes where, you know, like I said, she likes him, and basically what happens is he has the woman he likes, his dance partner called Penny. They're just friends. They're usually childhood sweethearts, but they're just friends. And Penny gets pregnant by a guy called Robbie, and Robbie is seeing baby sister Lisa, and he is an absolute moron, an idiot, and horrible, you know. And basically I don't know if he forced himself on Penny, but she's basically crying and in tears because she's got to have an abortion because he doesn't love her. And you know, they use the term knocked up, and to me that kind of means an unplanned pregnancy where the guy just doesn't give a toss, which is this movie. And so what happens is she gets money from her father and won't tell him what it's for, and just to trust her to pay for Penny, who's his childhood sweetheart, but they're just friends now, partners. She gets the money so that this woman can have Penny can have an abortion, and because she doesn't want to be pregnant with this guy's baby who's an idiot. And so anyway, this guy is meant to be a professional doctor, comes and meant to do the operation, but he's not a legitimate doctor. He has, as they say, a dirty knife and a folding table. So Penny's left in absolute agony, and she has to get her dad to sort it out, you know, to give her proper medication. Meanwhile, she's fallen in love with him because he's been teaching her how to dance, because Penny had to have this operation to remove the baby. She wasn't going to be able to dance, and he had to dance somewhere else at this other camp. And in order to keep his contract every year with the main camp, he has to do this gig at the other camp, but Penny's not in a fit state to do it. But before she has the terrible abortion that goes wrong by an unverified doctor, really, she helps baby with him become a really good dancer. And so a lot of the movie is about her learning to dance, and she falls in love with him, and then, you know, she basically sleeps with him. But when she sleeps with him, she genuinely loves him, whereas the other women are just after doing it, you know, because their husbands are away and stuff like that. So there is a lot of sex scenes in it. You don't see the full-on sexual stuff. You see quite a lot of her in a bra. You see her in like a leotard. And you do see this one really sexy scene where they're dancing together in the bedroom. You don't see her bottom half, but you don't fully see her top half naked. She's like pressed into him naked. So it's kind of like very implied sex, but you don't actually see a full-on sex scene. So you don't see them like doing the orgasm type of thing, but you see it very, very sexy. Now, in the actual bonus features, one of the scenes that was an alternative scene is them dancing together in the bedroom, and I have to say that is more sexy and sexual than pretty much all the dancers in the movie, and they cut that out, and I can see why, because I mean literally his genitals are pressed into hers and her skirt is up, and oh my god, it's just really, really sexual, and her body's right clinging to his, and oh my god, it's really a bit much to say the least. And so yeah, if you are sex repulsed asexual, you're probably absolutely gonna hate this film, have to look away. I'm personally sex repulsed for me these days, but not for others, and I can hack this type of thing. Mostly the like I said, the scene they cut made me a bit like, ugh, it is a bit much. I'm not saying I wouldn't do anything like that if I was in a serious committed relationship, because I do like sexy day dancing. And if it was with the right guy, maybe in a long term committed forever relationship, possibly. But it's a bit naughty to say the least, and you know, I prefer doing things with my clothes on. Clothes come off and I just get right. So but it's a bit too close for comfort, I think. You know, one thing I hate about this movie is, like I told you, Penny ended up getting pregnant, and the doctor, who's her dad, thinks it's his baby and it's not, and he finds out in the end because the Robbie himself, thanks for sorting out Penny's situation, he didn't realize. But one of the women who wanted to sleep with him, he puts her off because he likes her now. He genuinely loves and cares about her, so he doesn't want to go around sleeping with other women. And she gets revenge by saying he stole her wallet, or her husband's wallet or something, or her purse. I think it was her husband's wallet or something. Or something, but I mean the woman's husband's wallet. So basically he usually has sex with this woman as well as doing dance class with her, not her but this other woman, but he refuses the other woman because he's with her now, and tells the husband of this woman to keep the money. But this woman sees her with him kissing, and they basically makes out, he accuses him of stealing, and so he loses his job. But she steps in and tells her father the truth, that she was with him the whole night, and that's how she knows he didn't steal. And it was actually this little old couple that did. But he loses his job anyway, and he gets sent away. But yeah, it's so there are a lot of sexy scenes in this. And he has to go away in the end, because even though she told the truth about the fact that he couldn't have taken the money because he slept with her, he loses his job anyway because he's not meant to sleep with customers, even though he slept with other customers before, but she was honest about it, you know, to save him. And so yeah, so he rides off in the end. They said they don't have any regrets, but obviously that's not before they've danced together, and she fell in love with him, because when Penny was having the operation to have the abortion, he was dancing with her, and at this other campsite, to keep his job, and you know, and that went well, apart from she didn't do the lift. So they've had a lot of time practicing dancing together. There's a lot of lovely songs in this movie. Patrick Swayze actually you know, created one in real life, She's Like the Wind. That was his actual song that he sang and created himself from scratch, which he dedicated to his actual wife in real life. And you know, and he's commentating on the bonus features and bonus footage about this, looking back 25 years ago basically. And so, you know, I just think I really do still like a lot of the movie. But one thing I was going to tell you that I don't like is the fact, obviously Penny ended up being pregnant, needed abortion, but when he is doing sexual stuff with her, and presumably they had sex together because they end up in bed together and she's naked on top of him, but rather her top parts pressed into him so you don't really see it, then, you know, they're not showing that they're using any contraception and stuff like this. And I think that's a very, very bad thing to show people, especially considering this is a certificate 12, because it's basically showing, oh, if you sleep with someone just like that, you're not going to get pregnant. I mean, she's not likely to carry contraception on her because she's never had sex before and wasn't actually intending to in the first place. She didn't come to have sex. She didn't come to fall in love. She was sweet and innocent, if you like. And when they were doing the bonus features, like, a lot of people say it's basically you lose your innocence. That's what the whole film's about. But Patrick Swayze disagrees. He says it's actually you know, a coming of innocence. It's showing the innocence, because through that character of baby, you learn, you know, how the world can be a better place if we just try and take every step as it comes, and try and fix things as we go along, and try and do good by people, and try and help people and see the good in people, you know. And it doesn't have to be a stereotypical person, you know, like who's got a perfect job and a lawyer or doctor or nurse or, you know, physician, or, you know, someone who's got a high paying job. You can have a creative job and you can still see the good, or be and fall in love and be in a relationship with someone who's creative and different, and, you know, not the same as everyone else. You know, it's okay to marry or be with someone who you love, who's different to other people. And I guess I like that bit, you know. I guess I like the fact that, you know, asexuals are different. Some of us, like for example me, I'm very creative. Writing's my hugest passion. Asexuality is my second hugest passion, to help asexuals, you know. And I am different and I am quirky, you know. And so if I ever do get into a relationship, I need a guy who really loves that about me, who worships that about me, if you like, and think, oh my god, I love being with Sandra because she's just so different. Every day is special, because no 2 days are the same. It's not boring, it's just unconventional, and they like that, and they like my creativity, and they cheer me on and make me feel good and forget my pain, and, you know, and help me to feel great, you know, like we all should be doing in life, you know. And so anyway, in the very, very end of the film, although he's driven off because basically he's been driven out of the campsite, he comes back, tells her father no one puts baby in the corner, goes to hold her hand, goes on the stage and says, I always do the final dance of the year, but basically, you know, of the camp year. And basically I was told that I'm not gonna be doing it this year, but he said I'm gonna do it anyway. And this is when he starts doing dirty dancing with her on stage, but it's a much more sophisticated dirty dancing routine, you know. It's a lot of it's traditional dancing with a little bit of dirty dancing mixed in. And then he does that, and he jumps into the audience, and then all his dance crew come out and do all the dirty dance on the dance floor. And this older guy in charge of campsite actually loves it and says, where's the sheet music on this stuff? And so he realizes that's the way of the future, and so there is a place for this type of dancing in society now, as times have changed. And they end up kissing and being together in the end. So it's a beautiful movie in that respect. Obviously, as a hyper romantic, it's difficult for me watching this movie because it does make me think about relationships. It makes me think a lot about my soulmate that I haven't yet met in this lifetime. And it does, you know, that there's always ends up being a little part of me that thinks about relationship when I see this. But to be honest, I just thought to myself, I don't want a guy like Johnny who's like got all the women around him and really popular, and, you know, and just like, you know, originally he found it hard to say no, but he said no. He did change when he met her, and he could say no to these women then because he wanted to be with her, which is really good. But you know what I mean? Like, I just want a guy who's like different but normal, in the sense of, you know, not going off with other women, and just like down to earth, I think is the word. I like down to earth. I want like a guy who's down to earth and fun to be with and got beautiful personality and just like, you know, wants a happy life, you know. And obviously like the guy, you know, Johnny, who's like was the younger Patrick Swayze, obviously is quite good looking for a lot of women in this. So a lot of women would like looking at him aesthetically. A lot of guys would probably like her as well. Some guys fantasize in a, to me, a sick way about being with a woman who's like a virgin and who's like innocent, and I don't like that, because I've had quite a lot of guys in the past who've liked me because of my sweet and innocence, you know. And there's sometimes I feel it's a little bit perverse, you know. It's kind of like, you know, they want someone who's like, I mean, I'm not a virgin, right? I've had sex in the past, but they kind of want that type of virgin kind of person. And I do worry for other asexuals, you know, in case you get people after you like that. They kind of want to spoil your innocence, and they kind of want to have sex to be the person who's done that to you, and that's wrong, you know. The only time you should ever have sex is, one, if you actually really want to do that, like doing it, don't mind doing it, up for doing it, okay about doing it. You should never have it if you don't want to do it. And two is if you really love someone, in my opinion. There are people who want one night stands, so people want casual relationships, so people just want to try sex out with someone they don't really know. That's up to you. And if you like that more, more power to you in that way. But I do respect and love people who keep their virginity for themselves. I think it's really special, really amazing. I really don't think you should give that away in a hurry to people. Personally, my own personal opinion is I don't think that's great, having sex with someone you don't know, because I think it should be a really good experience if you're going to have sex. And maybe having sex with someone you don't really know, maybe you feel that it's less anxiety inducing and because you don't know them, and maybe you like that, and it's up to you what you do. But personally, I always think that sex, if you're gonna have it, is much better in a serious, committed, long-term relationship where you can feel safe and secure with the person and understand them on a deeper level. That's my personal opinion. I think from a safety aspect as well, it's probably better that you know the person somewhat first, in my personal opinion. And so yeah, I am an asexual that does like doing dirty dancing, though I do have some sexual behavior despite not experiencing any sexual attraction. I find that's very difficult, because it doesn't really fit in anywhere. Like, I'm too sexual in behavior sometimes for asexual guys. I'm way too not sexual enough for heterosexual guys. I'm only attracted to guys, so that kind of leaves me a bit stuck usually. I just prefer the sweet and innocent type of relationship, that you see teenagers having. I like a teenager style relationship with a guy in his 20s, ideally, But I haven't met the right guy for me. I realise that not all guys in their 20s are mature, but then I've met guys in their 40s who I'm really usually not attracted to, who are, not mature either. So I just think you've got to take a person on their own merits, their personality, their inner beauty. And I think that's what counts the most. There's so many people that are struggling right now with their mental health and their well-being, and I think people should just be about love and recognizing that everyone isn't equal and no one's better than the other, and people just have different ways of being and different things they like and different needs. But I hope and wish for everyone to find true love, whether that's friendship love, family love, boyfriend girlfriend love, life partner love, husband and wife love, civil partner to civil partner love. I just hope that everyone finds the love within themselves. If they're happy to be single, I hope people just love themselves, because I think love is a very beautiful thing, and the world needs more love right now, right? Proper, real, true love. We only get one life, and I do take life very seriously quite a lot of the time, because I think you've just got one life and you've got to make the best of it. And sometimes it's not easy, sometimes you fall in love with what seems to be the wrong person. I mean, he's meant to have turned out right for her in the end, but unfortunately sometimes fairy tales and movies don't end up being that way in real life, and someone we fall in love with who is meant to be a bad guy, like he's kind of like part bad and part good in this. So he's bad in the sense he sleeps with lots of women, but he's good in the sense that he still keeps his childhood sweetheart safe. I don't think many women would actually like that, though. I don't think many women would like the fact that Johnny actually still dances with Penny and like still has a really good relationship with his ex. But in this, she becomes friends with Penny. And so I think that's the best way to go, though, is for them all to be friends together, so that if someone is still friends with their ex, they invite their new partner into their life and to be friends with their ex as well. So you're all like friends together. I think that's much more healthy. I think if a guy's got women friends, any exes, and he just shuts the woman out from his ex as though there's something secret going on, I think that's when trouble starts happening. So I think if you are friends with any of your exes, you need to introduce those people to your partner and make sure that they're not, you're not doing like secret stuff with them, unless you are, which you shouldn't be, because you're meant to love the person in front of you now, not your ex. Still hung up on your ex, don't be with someone, But overall, I did like this. I found some of it difficult watching as a sex repulsed asexual these days, but the majority I really liked. It's a shame that he seems to only be more attracted to her the more and more he looks at her sexually. And that's another thing I didn't like. You know, you notice that the way the camera goes on his eyes, that that Johnny looks at Baby sexually with her when he's dancing with her with her bum and a, you know, top half, and you notice he kind of like becomes more and more attracted to her the more and more sexy and sexual looking she becomes, because she starts wearing makeup, wearing like tight fitting clothing, wearing like leotards and like just a little bra top and stuff like this. And so you see the more sexual she becomes, like most people would say, you know, she's becoming a woman. You know, the more sexual she becomes, the more attracted he is to her. You know, and I just don't like that, because I think, why should someone be more and more sexual to be attractive? Attraction shouldn't be based on the sexual stuff. It should be based on the person's personality, the kindness of their heart, you know, the way they are with people, the way they treat people. You know, we shouldn't be getting, you know, like, I do have aesthetic attraction, I'm not gonna lie. You know that about me. Mine's for the guy's face, so I have to feel his face is very aesthetically attractive. But in the past, I have become attracted to, well, my last long-term ex, I wasn't attracted to him very much aesthetically at all when I first met him. He was not my type at all. And then over time, as I developed emotional bond from him, I became more and more attracted to him, you know, aesthetically. So it can happen like that for me as well. But I just like hope that if I ever do end up in a relationship, it's with a really good guy for me who's got a heart of gold. He's got a very stable, secure personality, who knows what he wants. And I still want a guy in his early 20s, but one who knows exactly what he wants, is very stable and secure in himself, you know, one who's got an older soul, I think, you know. I got a young soul, but with wiseness, you know. So yeah, it's very difficult being a single person when you're hyper romantic and you watch films like this, because it does make you think, or it makes me think more about a relationship. But I know so far I'm better off on my own as a single person, you know. And like I said before, if I was doing dating relationships again, I'd probably try and actually pay for a proper traditional dating site. Maybe, I don't know if I get on in those, because obviously I'm asexual. But you know, I want something real. I don't want some online thing, you know, that's just online. There are so many, you know, people I keep coming across that just seem to want these online relationships, and it's like, you know, it's like, you can't live that way forever. I want a real person, real relationship with me, you know, eventually. You know, I think having an online relationship, personally, I don't go for that at all. I know some people have got severe disabilities and maybe mental health conditions, that introverted don't mind an online relationship, but to me, that isn't a full committed relationship. So, you know, I hope if I do find someone, that I want him to be the most kindest, caring, stable person for me possible. I believe there's a guy out there. I believe there's a young Indian guy out there, specifically. He does feel a little bit lonely, because he's like, oh, I don't want sex, and my culture's like, you need to get married, you need to have kids, you need to have sex, and got all these family expectations, but I just can't be like that. You know, it's not who I am, and they've broken away from that, and they're thinking, oh, I probably won't get a girl now, but I really want one, and they like an older girl. And you know, I sense that that person's in the world, but I don't know where they are. But yeah, but I expect they're somewhere. But yes, if only they knew I existed, eh? You know what I mean? That's the thing, see, that's the sad thing. There's so many asexuals that do want a relationship. And I think if more and more people were aware of asexuality, more and more people were out about it, it wasn't so stigmatized, you know, and you know, people weren't so criticized for it, there'd be more and more people coming out, and people wouldn't be scared, and they could just be free to be who they are. You know, I'd love it if, you know, more and more Indians, for example, and lots of foreign guys were just able to come out to their parents and say, hey, I'm asexual, you know, I'm really not interested in sex. And even say to them, you know, like, marriage isn't for me, or if I do get married, I want to be with an asexual person, you know. And I wish gay Indian guys could just be themselves and be in gay marriages and stuff, because there's so many guys I come across that are into guys, and they just feel that they can't be themselves, especially in their own countries. I mean, when is this world going to change and wake up to the fact that no one's better than someone else, you know, no sexual orientation is better than another. No race or gender or anyone's better than another person is, you know, better than each other. You're all beautiful. Everyone's beautiful in their own right, and the more society starts to accept people's differences, the better it will be. You know, there'll be less wars, less fighting, you know, more acceptance we need. We really do. And it's hard with so many people being so different, you know. You know, like I don't really totally fit into the asexual spectrum 100% anywhere into a tight little box. I fit definitely in the asexual spectrum, but nowhere specifically, you know, because of my grey areas, with the fact I love kissing for hours. You know, I can kiss up to 3 hours and never get bored. Hyper kiss, I mean, that's even unheard of predominantly in most sexual orientations. I mean, people know about hypersexual, which is someone who can't stop having sex. They love sex. They're like addicted to sex. They want more and more sex. And I don't have that at all with sex. I don't want any sex. You know, I'm not interested in it. But with kissing, I just want to kiss and kiss and kiss. I think it's so beautiful. I think it's so gorgeous. I find it very exciting. I find it really good activity to do. And with the right person, I mean, it can just be explosive in a really nice way. And, you know, and I think that a very beautiful relationship should be one based on bestest ever friendship, true love, soulmateship, and that type of thing. You know, think that's very rare to get these days. I find that a lot of guys that I've met in the past, they're not looking for something serious. Not really. They don't really think about a relationship. You know, in this movie, obviously, he wasn't thinking so seriously before. All he was trying to do was survive, and then she came along and changed his world. He was just trying to survive and get by, and using, you know, and she was on about, have you had many women, to him, and he's like, what sort of questions, that type thing, and she's like, have you? And she goes, oh, I see, you were just using them. And he said, no, they were using me. I thought they genuinely cared about me, and they didn't, you know. And I think that's what people don't realize today. I mean, you can have loads and loads of Facebook friends, hundreds and thousands of them, but only a small proportion of those, like a handful of people, maybe not even on Facebook, will be your bestest actual friends, you know. And just because you have loads of people liking you on social media doesn't mean to say that they are a best friend, or even they care truly about you. I think some people genuinely care. I know there's some people on this channel in my community that genuinely care about me. But you know what I mean? Like, my bestest friends I can count on one hand, and good friends I can probably count on two hands, you know? And so, you know, I think it's very difficult these days in the dating scene to actually find someone who wants that bestest friendship foundation, you know, who really wants to treat their partner like their best friend. And what I really hate about heteronormative society, if you like, is that if you are like masculine and feminine, for example, like if a guy is spending a lot of time with a woman, he gets ridiculed for it sometimes, you know, like, oh, you're under the thumb. It's like, well, you're spending loads of time with your male friends, like, you know, like going to the pub and doing whatever you do, like, and when you spend time with your woman, they ridicule you for that. Why? Because, you know, your woman should be your best friend, so of course you should want to spend a lot of time with her as well as your friends. And I'm not saying instead of, but as well as, but you know, a guy should be perfectly okay with saying, look, I'm spending some time with my girl tonight, let's book another time in to see each other, you know. You know, you need to have a good spread of both, not just, you know, like guys all the time. I also think guys who do that, they just do it because they don't want their male friend to spend time with their women sometimes, because it's like, what are they going to do? They're going to be bored rigid. And so I think that's why sometimes they say that. But, you know, people should always have their own friends as well, but they should also, you know, make time for their partner. Their partner should be a priority in their life, you know, because it's a huge commitment on both parties, you know. But, you know, so there were some things, like, there's a couple of things I don't like about this movie. I don't like I said, I don't like the fact they don't show contraception when they're having, basically, well, when it's implied sex, because especially after Penny got pregnant, do you know what I mean? And then they're just like doing stuff without taking precautions, you know what I mean? And so I don't think that's the way it comes across in the movie, and so I don't think that's a good thing. I think they should be showing like him opening a condom or something to make up for the fact that obviously they've shown that Penny got pregnant when she didn't want to be. But unfortunately, that's not what they've done in the movie. So, you know, and I think that was a bit careless, to be honest. I think it would have been really good if they'd have shown that. But you know, I do love the love story. I do like the fact that they turned his character around in the end, and I do love the dancing, predominantly most of it. You know, I love dancing. I always love dancing. I got bronze in freestyle disco dancing, highly commended, because I did a dance class years ago. I had to do 2 dances in front of judges, and highly commended with what I got. And you know, dancing's a huge passion of mine. Personally, I'd like it if I did get a boyfriend in the future, for him to do dancing and to come dancing with me, and for us both to do dancing together. I'd absolutely love that, but only if he was very faithful to me. Because you know, there's a lot of women who are in nightclubs and dancing, they just take, you know, they'll just start dancing with your guy, and it's like, hello, excuse me, how rude is that? You know, I personally don't like women who do that. There's a lot of women who do that. It's like they don't care if you're in a relationship with a guy, they'll just come and like start trying to chat him up in front of you and dance with him and stuff like that. I just find that very rude and disrespectful personally. You know, so I don't like that about, that's one of the things I don't like about clubs. But I do like clubbing in general. Obviously I can't do that for a very long time now with my ankle broken again. Somehow, you know, like it's not in the plan for me to go dancing again for a while, but I think everything works out in the end. But yeah, so if you're not a sex repulsed asexual, I would recommend this movie. If you're very sex repulsed and hate any sex scenes, do not watch it, because you'll probably want to throw up. But you know, if you love love stories, you're not sex repulsed, you like sexy dancing, you like dancing is very sensual as well. It's not all to do with sex. Dancing is very sensual. So if you're a very sensual person, you might like this. But it's kind of like sensual and sexual, the dancing in this. It's both. I'm very sensual with the guy's upper body. So I really like love stroking his hair. And obviously I don't have a guy at the moment, but his hair and his face and his kissing his nose and, you know, blowing his ear. Guys love being blown, their ears being blown in, by the way, the majority of ones that I've known. You know, but stroking their hair and stroking their shoulders, their upper body, I really like that. I'm really, you know, and I don't mind sitting on guy's lap or in between his legs. That's how come I can, you know, that's how come I don't mind dirty dancing and stuff. But I do have more boundaries, you know, more places I don't want a guy to touch me these days than I used to. But you know, like I would like a guy who, you know, I guess if I was had a boyfriend in the future who would like this type of dancing with just me, and any other women who'd be like, no, I've got Sandra, thanks, I'm not interested. You know, I really need a strong guy like that. There's not many guys these days like that. I don't find in the people I come across. You know, guys are just in the women's inbox and in thousands of women inboxes, you know, just chatting women up, and I'm just like, you know, you're just doing this to every woman. Is this what you do with your life? You must have a very boring life if this is all you do, you know. And so, you know, the type of people that come in Facebook, and I've got a guy on Twitter at the moment, hello, he's probably watching this right now. He keeps messaging me like kissing messages and stuff, which of course is a hyper romantic. I like that type of thing, but obviously he's in another country, and it's not something you would say to someone who you want to do business with, put it that way. And you know, I find that difficult, you know, because you know, like, it's obvious he must be going doing that to loads of women all over Twitter. But you know, you get guys like that on Facebook, you can just tell. I even say to guys on Facebook, I'm like, you know, good luck with the rest of your journey looking for a woman on Facebook, because it's obviously what they're doing. They come in your inbox and they start chatting, and one of the first things is like, have you got WhatsApp? What's your WhatsApp number? It's like, hello, nice to meet you too. Like, don't even bother speaking to me. They just want to get me on WhatsApp, because that's what they do. They have a load of women on WhatsApp and they just circle through them over and over again because they're bored and they want some validation and some love and some attention. So this is what they do, you know. I mean, in some ways, obviously, you can kind of understand a little bit, because with the pandemic and the way everything's changed, you can understand that some guys are really lonely. They kind of feel like, you know, they need something. But it's kind of always been like that anyway. And you just know that these type of guys, they're just going to be doing it to everyone. You know, they're just going to continuously do it. And it's a shame because there is a guy I like on Facebook. We've been friends for a very, very long time. Indian guy friend of mine. Hello, if you're watching. And he's the only Indian guy that I consistently have communication with of some description. We don't really talk that much. But you know, like, he's the only one that's really in my life consistently that's Indian. But when I first met him, he was going in women's inboxes and was doing that. And usually I wouldn't stay friends with someone who did that. I'd be like, you know, like, eventually I'd get fed up and bored of it. And, you know, and also you can't trust a guy in a relationship like that. And it's a shame because I do actually like him more now, relationship wise, like, you know, like romantically and aesthetically, and he likes me more, but he's never going to come over here anyway. And so it's just a shame he did that, you know, because I know as a friend I would really trust him, but as an actual life partner I just couldn't trust that aspect of him. Not because I know he's been chatting women up in the inbox, you know, and you can't trust people like that, because if they're doing it to you, they're going to be doing it usually to someone else as well. Having said that, I know an entrepreneur guy whose life partner is 20 years older than him. He's 22 now, I believe, and she's 42. And they have the most wonderful relationship together, or so it seems, because obviously it's social media. I know he loves it because he's told me in private message that. And you know, and so you know, age gaps can work, and they actually met through Facebook. They're actually train people in organic Facebook marketing. That's what they do to get sales and customers and clients. And they're a very nice couple, lovely people. And you know, they are just like you know, they come across as like an ideal couple, right? But you know, they are very grounded in their relationship. You always see pictures of them together. You see her kissing him publicly and stuff like that. They, you know, they do that in their social media posts together, in their business groups together and stuff like this. So, you know, they're very open about their relationship, you know. But they actually did meet through Facebook. You know, I think it was through Facebook, doing business together. He was teaching her business stuff, and then they fell in love. So it's kind of like a bit strange. It's like kind of like I get guys in my inbox that clearly aren't after business, even though they've got businesses. Some of these people, they clearly aren't after business. They're after more than business. But then you got those two people who met through business and then fell in love, as far as I understand. You know, but I think it's important that to understand that well, for me personally, I can't trust someone who's going around just inboxing loads of women, because it's like, if you're doing it to, you know, if you're doing it to them, then you're doing it to, you know, if you're doing it to me, then you're going to be doing it to loads of people, you know. So yeah, it's just like, you know, not really good at all. You know, you can never trust someone like that. And so I think this day and age it's very difficult to find people, especially if you're asexual, because obviously asexuals, we love for a deep emotional connection. One of the ways you get that is through communication, even texting. And I also find that, you know, like, it's hard for us because we're not likely to come across another asexual that happens to live near us, right? We're going to have to travel, or one of us is going to have to move to the other. And, you know, and trying to find someone for a relationship, usually it probably is going to start online. So it's kind of hard, I think. I've come across asexual guys, though, that have connected with me from asexual groups and dating groups. And I thought maybe they're interested in me romantically, and then they just stopped talking to me very quickly. But usually they're British guys, actually. Might be because they find out I'm into foreign guys. It might have something to do with it. But yeah, so I think it's very difficult. I think, you know, in terms of passion, if you're looking for passion, I guess you love this movie. I'm a very passionate girl, sensual girl, even though I'm asexual. So I find that, you know, when you've got grey areas as well, it's very difficult as an asexual. You're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, it's like, do you date sexual people that are probably far too sexual for you, or do you be with asexuals where it's really hard to find someone suitable? You know, because all asexuals have different needs. You know, you've got people who don't even want to be touched, they touch adverse, through to people that like a little bit of touching, like I have hugs but not much kissing, through to people that love, well, through to people like, not many people like me who love kissing a lot. I find the majority of asexuals, probably 70%, are not into kissing that much. When I've seen people post in groups like, what do you think of kissing? I'd say about 70% of them at least don't like kissing. They're like a little peck on the cheek or a little peck on the lips and not into full on snogging. Whereas for me, I just love it, you know? And so I find it's very difficult, you know, trying to find someone, you know, and I do have asexuals who do get into despair as well. I've got an asexual friend on Facebook, and she's just recently come out as asexual, well, very recently, and you know, she says like people don't want to know her as soon as she says she's ace, and which is why it's better if you can to find another asexual. But you know, most asexuals are spread around the country or spread around the actual world, and unless one person is prepared to move to another, you know, it ends up in heartache and heartbreak, you know. So, you know, that's what I'm at the moment. I'm not doing dating or relationships anymore because I'm still healing from the last two guys that I loved, and you know, but there is a little part of me that's getting a bit more interested in relationship a little bit, you know. There's always going to be that type of thing in me, I think, because I'm a huge romantic person, you know. And I think when you're a romantic person, it's very difficult because you do want to experience romance, you do want to have someone holding your hand, you do want to have someone cuddling you, giving you little or big kisses, you want someone holding you, you want the warmth, you know. Just because you're asexual, even if you're sex repulsed, doesn't mean to say you don't want physical affection. You know, it's natural part of human nature to want connection, and you know, like a lot of people do crave hugs. They crave that. They crave a touch. You know, some asexuals, because especially the sex repulsed ones, we might crave just having a touch to someone holding us and saying, you know, how special we are, how loved we are, how beautiful we are, you know, and that just means the world to us, you know. And so I do feel for other asexuals, you know. I know what it's like. I mean, 7.5 years, and then I've had to give up looking for my asexual soulmate. I mean, in my heart, I've not given up hope that one day he'll appear, but you know, I've not met this guy yet. I mean, maybe it's hard for me to meet him because where I look, it's not likely to find him, you know. Like people who are more secure in themselves, more independent, more self-reliant, and you know, not a bad boy or not going after loads of women, they're going to be in different social circles. A lot of them won't be in doing so much social stuff, you know. They'll be more like keeping themselves to themselves, you know, and they're less likely to go and put themselves out on a dating site and stuff like that because, you know, it's quite daunting to them, and that makes it difficult to find these type of rare people and special people who actually, you know, would probably be more suitable for a relationship because they're more stable and strong and don't need someone to be in a relationship where they just like it as a preference, you know. So I think there's a lot of hurdles to overcome with love and relationships. I'm on lots and lots of, like, I follow a lot of dating relationship channels because I always have an interest in dating and relationships and psychology and how people's mind works, how people react the way they do, including myself. I always take a vested interest in that. I still have an interest in dating and relationships. You know, like sometimes my mind's like, shall I go back there? And I'm just like, no, it's too time consuming. I've got to do other things, right? But, you know, I sometimes do think, you know, what would it be like to just try an actual dating site where you pay for a change? And, you know, would you get dates off that? But then I get some anxiety induced. It probably wouldn't be a good idea. But sometimes, yeah, I just think to go on a date and actually hold a guy's hand in person and kiss him and, you know, spend time with a guy in person, not just online, would be amazing. You know, I don't really understand why there's so many younger foreign guys who just go in women's inboxes, you know, and trying to act like their boyfriend, you know. It's like you can't follow that through. You're not going to move countries for this person. Probably you want a visa, or something like that, or just because you're lonely. And, you know, like I said, I do understand that to a certain extent, but you know, it can lead to heartache and pain, you know. And so I find that very difficult. I think, you know, to find true love these days is very hard. I know some asexuals have done it, so I had someone come in my inbox on, well, my chat bubble on my asexualise.com site, and someone asked me, said actually they're a teenager, and said, you know, can asexuals actually find love and have a relationship? And I'm like, yes, they can. They definitely can. You know, I know my asexual best friend is with another non-binary asexual person. I have a friend called John, and he is married to his asexual partner. They're both asexual. So people can find true asexual love with another asexual. But you have to know that when you've got that person, how precious it is, you know? Like my friend John, he's a really respectful guy. He's very traditional. His woman is everything to him. He spends all his time with her. The majority of time he loves being with her. They go out for meals and dates still and everything like that. Hi Sandra, great to see you. Oh, thank you, Liam. Lots of love. Nice to see you as well. So you can find true asexual love. You know, it does happen, because I have, like I said, I have friends who actually do have relationships with other asexuals. You know, one's married to their life partner, you know, but I know these people who are in relationships, they're very dedicated to a relationship, you know. I find a lot of people, like a lot of asexuals even, that say they want a relationship, they're not that serious about it. Obviously Liam's on here, and I know Liam's not into relationship. That's different. If you know you don't want a relationship, you absolutely, you know, you lay that out, and that's fine. But I'm talking about people that say they want a relationship when they're asexual, and then the situation arises, and they, you know, they don't see the beauty of the person in front of them. It's happened with me, but I know other asexuals it's happened with, not just me. And it's like, you know, it's like you've got a gorgeous person, potential partner there, and you don't even see them, you know, and that you don't realize how precious they are, you know. And relationships take work and effort. They're not just like, oh, smooth sailing. They do take work and effort and time to manage them, you know. You have to like be looking after your own needs as well as the needs of the other person in the relationship, and that's quite difficult, you know. You got to make sure you look after yourself as well as the other person. It's quite hard, you know, but I think some people work better in relationships than others. I think, like I said, for me, the best of type of relationship is bestest ever friends. And I know my friend John, he's married to his beautiful wife, you know, I know they're best friends. I know when they got together, they just love spending time. I hope you are not being trolled on the stream. Oh yeah, I did have some trolling on this stream of trying to put you know, like people trying to tell other people, viewers, to go to this channel with no doubt PORN on it, but I just deleted them, you know. I'm not interested in that type of thing, you know. It's because I probably said about the movie being a sexy sexual movie, you know, but I'm just warning asexuals that it, you know, that this movie is, you know, because the sex repulsed asexuals are probably not going to want to see it. And usually I do no sex movie reviews, but you don't actually see them full on having sex. So, but it's very implied, like you know, it's like everything sexy and sexual, but the actual sex they show you, if you know what I mean. But you don't see like, you see her, you don't fully see her top half, thank God. It's nestled into his chest, because I hate nudity. So that's why I can hack this. It's only a certificate 12. But I saw this when I saw this years ago. So yeah. But yeah, so I do think it's very difficult to find true love these days. I think it's very difficult to find someone who's very loyal and faithful. But like I said, I do know my friend John. I think he's one of the very rare guys I've ever met who's got his beautiful asexual wife, and I know how dedicated he is to her. Like, you know, she's his best friend. They go, like I said, they still go out on dates together. From what I see of their post photographs, you know, he takes her out for the anniversary, and you know, they do stuff together, and you know, he spends loads of time with her, and that's all he's ever wanted. And when I met John as a friend at my meetup years ago, you know, he just was such a decent guy. He's one of the few decent guys I've met in this life, particularly that's asexual. And you know, he was a guy that would never cheat on a woman, who would always be there for his partner, who's very loyal and dedicated to her, and who just is totally and utterly trustworthy with women. And so I do know there are some guys in the world like that, but I do think, you know, personally, that they're few and far between. I haven't met many guys like him. You know, he's really into his woman. His picture on his profile is always of him and her in their wedding outfits still, even they got married a few years ago. I think it's been 2 or 3 years now. I think this might be the 3rd year. I think they've been married 2 and something years now, so I think this is the 3rd year. But I'm just so happy for him. You know, I love seeing people happy. Like some asexuals who see other couples together, they get really upset or jealous or just disheartened and feeling miserable and in pain. And I do get that. But when I see people who really are happy and in love and care about each other, it makes me really happy to see that. I think the world needs more of that. Even though I'm not with someone, I want other people to be happy. I'm happy for them. I want people to find true love. I want them to find so much love and happiness with another person that they become a more beautiful person themselves, that the love of someone else makes them a good person, and that they stop being so negative, that they actually see that they've got something special right in front of them, that they actually are able to soak the other person's love up and feel like, wow, this person's beautiful, you know. And I really respect them. I find that some people that get into a relationship, they start taking their partner for granted. It's like, I've got you now. They don't realize at any given moment any relationship can end. I mean, people get divorced. Why do they get divorced? Because they don't feel seen or heard anymore. Communication breaks down. Sometimes obviously the other person does have an affair, and you know, and people get complacent. They no longer see their partner as, you know, like something they really want in their life. They're like more like they've got them and it's convenience, and now they can start kind of like looking elsewhere as well. And you know, I just don't think that's a good idea personally, you know, because you know, you don't want that type of person in your life. You just want to have people who lift you up and make you feel special and good, you know. And I sometimes wish love was enough for a relationship, but love is not enough for a relationship. You have to have respect, mutual respect, high levels of communication. You have to have a certain amount of attraction, you know, but you have to have a deep emotional connection, because that's how asexuals love. You know, you could have someone who's very committed to you but you don't have a deep emotional connection with, and that is not good either, because even if a person's highly committed to you but you don't have a deep emotional connection with them, there's going to be like a disconnect between you and them, and you're kind of going to feel a bit sad, like something's missing. And so they might look great on paper, like they've got everything that they should have, but there's still not that connection there. The other extreme, you can have someone who you feel highly connected to, who's just not there for you commitment wise, and there for you consistently. You know, so you've got to find someone who's emotionally available for you, who can be vulnerable with you and honest with you, very, very honest with you and themselves, you know, and who can actually be accountable for their behavior, their attitude towards you and other people in their life, and who wants to grow as a person and grow with you in the relationship, you know. um and someone who is willing to change for themselves first and foremost, but also willing to change in good ways for the relationship if there's something that they kind of need to work on, you know. So I think it's very difficult to find someone for a relationship in the 21st century. I think maybe years ago people used to force themselves to make it work because divorce was kind of seen as taboo as well, so that wasn't good. But you know, like my parents have been married for 52 years. I am not like my parents. I personally wouldn't want that type of traditional relationship where man goes out to work and woman does housework for the guy. But it works for them, and they've been together for 52 years, so they're obviously doing something right, you know. And that's what I mean. Like every relationship, every person in a relationship is very different, and you've got to get a relationship that's comfortable for you, and no one should be dictating a relationship other than the two people in it, you know. And so like if an asexual person is with a person, another asexual or a sexual person, they don't have sex and they're both happy about that, people should be happy for them, you know. there are very few sexual people who can be without sex, because that's usually one of their own basic needs, right? And so a lot of the time they can't be, but there are a few that can. And there's also people that are disabled that can't have sex. They're not asexual, but they've got a disability that prevents them having sex. There's impotent people, people who just choose to be celibate their whole life. So there are like other people out there, and you know, like people who are impotent, they deserve a love. You know, I once found a site years ago, and it was women just like who like were leaving men because their male partner was impotent. They couldn't have sex basically, and the woman really needed the sex, and so they were like, oh, you know, like my guy can't give it to me and I'm just fed up, so I'm going off basically. And I do get that people need sex, but you know, there's so many asexuals that don't need sex. And I wish more impotent people, like people who've got serious impotency problems, like just can't have sex because of that. I wish they'd know more about asexuals, because they might be able to find true love with an asexual person who doesn't need sex from them. And I'm sure they would feel much better about themselves being with someone who actually didn't need that, and so they can be loved for who they are, you know, for who they are, for their heart and their personality and their soul. And I think as a society, that's what we should be doing anyway. More and more people should be getting into relationships where the person's heart and soul and character matter the most, you know. Because even if you're with a really good looking person, what you consider good looking, because every person's idea of beauty is different, you know, it doesn't mean to say they're going to have a nice personality. Looks can change, and you know, like you could be with the most beautiful looking person in the world. I mean, I could get really good looking guys, but a lot of them are really faithful. They're not going to be good for me. They're not going to be right for me long term, you know. And so there's no point. It's much better to get someone who's down to earth, who can commit, who can be kind and caring, who can be, you can live a more comfortable life with, and who really understands you as a person. You know, someone who's there for you through thick and thin, you know. Um, and there's a lot of stereotypes still about the way a woman should look. I mean, skinny. It's like, I'm big and beautiful, and I don't. I mean, I actually think some women who have ribs showing are not very good looking, and they promote that in the coaches that I see coming across, like weight loss coaches and fitness coaches, and they promote these women that are all ribby. And I'm not interested in women, but if I was attracted to women, I would not be attracted to those type of women, because I just don't find that aesthetically attractive personally, you know. But I do like skinny guys. It's kind of weird. But you know, maybe I think that guys look better skinny and women look better voluptuous. Voluptuous like me. You know, but like, I think beauty is all in the mind, but I think, you know, like of how you perceive it. But I know that I would rather be with a guy, even if it wasn't a skinny guy, but a guy who had such a kind heart and who adored me, and who was like really into me. That would just be beautiful. Because, you know, like even a guy who's cuddly is beautiful, you know. It's more important to get a guy who's got a beautiful personality, who's a best friend, soulmate, and to hang out with and have great times with, and who's very respectful and really kind and caring and considerate, than have a guy who's like meant to be like a stud to loads of women and got the perfect body. But I mean, most women don't actually like skinny guys. They're into guys with muscles who've got a six pack. They're not really into skinny guys. A lot of skinny guys get very self-conscious because they're like, you know, women don't tend to like guys who are really thin. They tend to like guys who are more butch and with muscle and who look more manly. But you know, I prefer a guy who's like skinny and writes poetry and is in touch with his feminine side, but not to the point where he can't make any decisions for himself. I've known quite a few guys who are very feminine, but it's to the point where they can't really stick up to women. They can't really take a stand on things. They're too shy about things, and it's just that's too much the other way, you know what I mean? I think it's good to get balance. I think it's good to find someone. Most modern relationships around sex, no wonder eating disorders are so rampant. Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, Liam, because you know, like, it is ridiculous that eating disorders are so prevalent. I totally agree with you. You know, like, I know that guys get attracted to me even though I'm not a skinny girl. You know, not all guys do. Some guys are very rude about that, but you know, the fact I'm not skinny, but I don't care. They can do one. But but it is disgusting, because if you look at paintings of women, a lot of the paintings, like, I'm not into nudity, right, but obviously doing the Asexual Guide to Sex book, I have to do like research as well as use my own knowledge and experience. I do have a lot of knowledge and past experience with some of the stuff, but you know, like, when I'm looking on Wikipedia at different things, you see these pictures, like, you see paintings of like women and stuff, right? And they're women, they're not usually skinny, they're usually very voluptuous. They've usually got a bit, you know, they usually got a tummy with you know, like a tummy that's not skinny, that's got, like, you know, wrinkles on it, if you like, and they've usually got very voluptuous, you know, like chest and voluptuous body, you know. So if you, these are like women in Roman bath era, that type of thing. And if you look at them, a lot of them have got what I call real women's bodies, you know, like, no offense to women who've got naturally skinny bodies, you know, women that got naturally skinny bodies, they are still beautiful. Everybody's different, right? But when women are forcing themselves to be skinny and you know, try to be something they're not, you know, to please society and to just keep guys who expect a woman to be thin and stay thin for them, they are really bad guys. Just stay clear of them. I once knew a girl in my old job. You're not skinny or fat, Sandra. You're beautiful the way you are. Oh, thank you, Liam. Bless your heart. Yeah, I do like my body. I like eating, you know. I actually eat very healthily. Some people assume that because I'm not a skinny girl that I don't eat healthily, but I eat really healthily. But I probably consume more calories than a lot of people because I eat a lot of food, and throughout the day, because I get low blood sugar, and plus I work at night quite a lot, you know, so I'm up for more hours doing more work than a lot of people usually. Although obviously with a broken ankle, I can't do much at the moment because I've been in a lot of pain, so I've having to take time out more. So yeah, but I was actually watching a video last night, and it was about, because I've got my Redbubble shop, you know, for asexual merchandise, and someone was saying why they've stopped doing their Redbubble shop, and one of the reasons they gave is because they were fed up of seeing models on there that are like thin, and they were saying that about the eating disorders, that encourages people to have eating disorders, you know, and in this day and age, we should be having models that are actually like plus sizes. And this woman who had a shop on Redbubble, after 5 years, she's just stopped selling on there because she wants to have plus sizes, real plus sizes, because she said a lot of the plus, you know, like the extra larges and some of the size on there, they're not big enough to suit all, you know, to suit the bodies. And she did show a clip of another site that did have plus size women, you know, that had women with a tummy on them, you know, modeling bags and stuff. And she said, you know, this is what it should be like. We should, you know, women shouldn't have to put up with this anymore, of these images of like a woman's got to be skinny to be beautiful and stuff like that. And she was so dead against it. And you know, she said that Redbubble for her is not what it used to be. It used to be about artists, but now it's more like trends and tagging and stuff like that, rather than, you know, like independent artists showing their work. It's more like people writing you know, just selling stuff that's trending for the hell of it, rather than because they actually genuinely care about their audience, like I really care about my audience. So that was her opinion. So that's some of the reasons why she's left Redbubble after 5 years. And she said she used to sell items every day at one point on their daily items. So yeah, so that was very, very interesting. You know, but I just think there's I don't know why people think that a girl showing her ribs is healthy. You know, even if you lose weight, if you've lost weight to the point where your ribs are showing, that's really not healthy. I've got an asexual friend, and she's got the opposite problem, that she can't put weight on very easily. And she used to be very ribby, and it was very bad for her. She had to try and put on weight because, you know, she just couldn't put on it. It was very unhealthy. And we just had a video chat not long ago, and she said now that she's able to, you know, she's able to not have any rib showing, and that's a really big thing for her, you know. So there are some people that can't put weight on easily, and it's very difficult for them to do that. You know, my ex of 8.5 years, he was very skinny, but he couldn't put weight on. He could eat what the hell he wanted, chocolate or whatever he wanted, and didn't put on weight. So, you know, people's metabolisms are different, people's bodies are different. And, you know, like, I don't want to be restricted, like, oh, I can't eat anything, or I have to worry about what I eat, or my blood sugar goes very low if I don't eat carbs, to the point where I get very weak and stuff. Women can be and are gorgeous the way they are. Exactly, Liam. You know, and every body shape's different. You know, you get big guys, skinny guys, thin guys, muscly guys. You know, and what I hate is if a guy gets with a woman who is, you know, more voluptuous, and then they expect her to lose weight for him. It's like the disgustingness of it, you know what I mean? It's like, why would I care what you think? You know, I'm not even gonna have sex with you anyway. But you know, it's like, why would you take someone on in a relationship and want to change them? I mean, that's just ludicrous. Do you know what I mean? You don't get with someone in a relationship and then decide to change them. If you want to change someone, don't be with that person in the first place. That's not true love. That's just you wanting a basically cardboard cut out of what you want or something. It's ridiculous. You know, too many people end up getting into a relationship with someone based on what they want to make the person be rather than what they actually are. I know that a lot of us are in danger of doing that, not just with looks, because we always have the what if this and the what if that scenario. Which is brought on a lot, I think, by movies that do sensationalize relationships quite a lot and romance quite a lot. You know, they make it all look very, very good all the time, which it isn't. It can be very, very difficult. But you know what I mean? I think it's really important that people don't try and change people, and people love people for who they are. But I do think it's good to grow and develop yourself for yourself, and, you know, get better at relationship skills. I think relationships are not something that people are not born with good relationship skills usually. You have to learn these type of things, and you have to learn about yourself to know what you like and what you dislike. You know, like, to me, I would rather be with someone like me who has a beautiful personality than some skinny girl if they don't have a nice personality, you know. And I personally prefer more fuller figure anyway. Personally, I do know some guys, they like big beautiful women, as they call them. Because when I was on Facebook dating, I kept getting loads of guys like saying to, like, they had in their profile looking for big beautiful women, and then they started talking to me, and I thought, I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or not. It's like, I don't think I look that big, but okay, thanks. But I took it as a compliment anyway, because, you know, like, I think a lot of bigger women, more voluptuous women, I think they've got beautiful faces usually. I'm not into women, I'm not attracted to women, but if I just analyse the person's face, I think a lot of the bigger girls usually have a very beautiful face, I think. And they're usually very bubbly as well. Like, their personality, in the ones I come across, are very bubbly, kind of outgoing, and they're very attractive in that energetic way. They've got a lot of energy. Like, I was with a guy years ago, a heterosexual guy that I dated, and he was going on about, oh, you're eating a whole bag of crisps. I'm like, yep. And he's like, oh, you know, and he was like one of these people about weight and stuff, and I'm like, you deserve someone who has a beautiful personality. Thank you, Liam. Lots of love. I appreciate that. I do, definitely. I agree with you on that. Well, this guy was one of those guys that's not very nice. And he was having a go at me about eating a whole bag of crisps. And he's going, you're not going to eat all them, are you? Because I was waiting in the queue for a theme park ride. And when I'm out, I do eat crisps sometimes. Usually because, like, blood sugar, and they give me energy. And if I don't have carbs, I just don't have energy. It's miserable life. I'm not being like that, you know. I want to enjoy my life. So he's like, oh, you're not eating them, are you? And he's being quite rude to me and saying stuff, which I won't go into. But anyway, and I said, well, it's better than being like you, who's got no energy. I mean, I said, you are skinny, but you've got no energy. And he's like, oh, well, that's true. And it was totally true. He was just tired nearly all the time. He was older than me. He was actually in his 40s. And I was quite surprised that I dated a guy who was older than me. And so, yeah, that was kind of weird for me. but he did look younger than his birth certificate age. But was still older. He looked still older than I would usually go for, but he's very young looking in his physique and stuff like that. But yeah, so he was going on that, but I was like, but you've got no energy. And he was like, well, that's true. And he didn't. And I sometimes find this that people who are very, very skinny, that might be some people's idea of beauty, but they have no energy. Thanks for some lots of love. And they are just literally going to bed very, very early. I wish you all the best. Oh, thank you, Shy Cat. That's lovely of you. You know, and you know, it's like they you know, they have no energy, and it's like I would rather not be skinny and have more energy than live a life where I'm just not able to do stuff because I feel lethargic and have to sleep loads. And you know, when I sleep more, then I do have less food because obviously I'm not up as many hours. You know, like, so when I've been in pain, like, I'll be, like, instead of going to bed at 4, I'll be going to bed at, like, 1:30, and then I won't eat till much later because I'm sleeping more hours, you know? That's just, like, life. But if I'm up till 4 in the morning, I'll be eating some food in that time because I need it for energy. But I personally love being an energetic person all the time. I like having lots of energy. I don't like being this type of person that's really lethargic and can't do much and just has little life and goes to sleep. I don't like that type of life. Some people might love it because, you know, they might get up at, you know, 7 or whatever and be in bed by 10, half 10. And I just don't like that life. It's just boring for me. I would rather be high octane energy, you know, eat some food, have more energy, like woo woo girl, you know what I mean? I usually have more energy going to sleep later, you know, going to sleep early for me. I mean, I've been going to sleep earlier, like last night was in so much pain I couldn't do live stream. You know, but you know, I just find that, you know, each to their own, isn't it? I personally would rather not be skinny and have more energy than be miserable and tired and not eat as much, you know. But you know, people should be, that's why I said, you know, this film I do like, but the thing I didn't like about it is he became more and more attracted to her because of him finding her more sexually attractive the more sexual she looked. And I just thought that's not a good thing, you know, because I think people should be attracted to people more. I know I get aesthetically attracted, that's my initial attraction guy, I do know that, but people should, you know, get to know someone's personality. But I can be attracted to a guy because of their personality and the more I talk to them as well. It doesn't have to be just looks. But there's certain things like beards, I really get turned off by beards, like, but I can still be somewhat attracted to guys with some facial hair, depends on how much facial hair they have. But I really don't like beards. I very much can't stand them. They really I just don't like the look of them. You know, I find it's a barrier between me and the other person. So I find that very difficult. I really need to find a guy who just doesn't usually have much body hair naturally, or who, you know, doesn't really like beards himself and always likes to be clean shaven, because, you know, like, that really is a big deal for me, a beard. I just, like, if he grew a little bit of one, you know, like just a little bit here or something, I probably could stand that. But maybe a tiny little bit of tash. But, you know, getting more and more, it's just like I find beards of themselves repulsive. So, you know, it really put me off. You know, so, you know, we all have the things we like and we dislike about people's bodies, our own bodies. But I just think, you know, like, I wish there were more guys that didn't just end up being attracted to women because they found them sexy and sexual and they were sexually attracted to them. I wish there was more people in the world that would be attracted to people because of their personality, and because, you know, they would literally write down a list of criteria and most of it would be based on personality traits and you know, like kindness and caringness and honesty, and, you know, how does that person treat you, you know? Does that person listen to you? Does that person give their time up to you for you? Does that person actually care about you as a person? Do you mean everything to that person? Is the person there for you when other people aren't? Are they a true friend to you? Are they there for you in your hour of need? You know, like, I think people who are looking for relationships should be ticking these type of boxes. not like, oh, am I sexually attracted to that person? Yes or no? Oh, let's have a relationship because I am. I mean, that's not a basis for a relationship, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, unless you've got some fundamental things that are the same type of thing, you know, unless you've got core beliefs and values, very similar core beliefs and values, and very similar ideology of the type of relationship you want, a lot of the time it's not going to work, you know. I just think that a lot of relationships should be based on things not so superficial with looks, and not so superficial with just attraction, you know. Some I was coming across something about dating relationships as well, which I think is very true. I think, like, a lot of the time we're taught that when we get butterflies in our tummy, when we have, like, like these kind of like really passionate, kind of like exciting feelings within our being, that's love. And that's kind of how it's portrayed a lot in society, in books and magazines and movies and stuff. But actually, if you are with the right person, you shouldn't be feeling necessarily all these butterflies and stuff in your stomach. You should feel comfortable with the person. Like, rather than nervous and that, it should be more like, that you're more comfortable with the person, that you feel just like they're your comfy armchair that you just want to sit in, and that you love spending time with them, and they should genuinely respect you and care about you and adore you for who you are, And I just wish that more people would sometimes see the beauty in others, not just on the looks front, but on the actual heart front, like people, I think, when they're on their own and single, some of them are quite lonely, and they're very into themselves, very withdrawn in themselves, and they want a person to feel good about themselves. And the thing is, sometimes they then get a good person, but they don't see the good in that person, but because they've got into a relationship or dating scenario with a person for the wrong reasons, very based on their own kind of selfish needs and desires for validation and ego reasons, and because they're lonely. And I think that's a shame. I think people should be looking to come at a relationship from, like, how can we best be the most amazing friend for each other? How can we best be the most gentlest, kindest, caring person towards each other? How can we best understand each other? How can we best make the other person feel as special and good as they can? Not just like when we start the relationship, but consistently on an ongoing basis. How can we work with each other to be the best team possible? How can we bring, love and joy to each other's lives? I don't understand lately why there seems to be more and more guys who seem to want to focus on negative stuff. It's just like, what is it with that? Like, why would you want to be in a relationship, or why would you pursue someone and then try and turn their mind more negative? It's kind of really weird. I don't know what's up with those guys. It's like, why would you want my mind to be more negative? My mind should be filled with love and happiness and positivity and respect and care and kindness, not putting like negativity in there. It's bizarre. I don't get that. So one person said on Twitter about, like, for example, my pain, and I said I'm not focusing on that. And like, they're like, you should be focusing on it. I'm like, well, why would I focus on my pain? That's the worst thing I should be doing, You don't want to be focusing on pain in life. You want to be focused on other things. That's why when I'm in pain, I'm watching movies and stuff to try and take my mind off it. The last thing I want to be doing is focusing on pain. It's what you focus on expands. If you focus on pain and negativity, you just get more of that in your life. If I focus on, last night I was in so much pain, I thought I just need to take painkillers, go to sleep, cuddle my cuddly toys, something nice. I was cuddling this, like these toys last night. This is my bunny. Actually, my best female friend bought me this, and it's actually goes in the microwave. So it's one of these microwavable things, but I don't usually use it as a microwavable thing. I just usually cuddle up to it. So especially if I'm not feeling well, I just put my arms around it, especially as I'm single, obviously. So I've got no person to cuddle. And I'll just cuddle it like this and fall asleep on it. And I got my Eat, or I got this for Christmas, and I cuddle this as well. you know, and stuff like this, you know, and just feel good. Because when you cuddle something like soft and squishy and feel good, you know, it just makes you feel nice, you know, it gives you some love and some cute cuddly stuff, you know. And I'm like, why would people want to do that? You know, it's just bizarre. You know, you need to be encouraging people to be happy and to love themselves and to feel good about themselves. And I'm glad that I'm blessed quite lately to have some new Facebook friends and followers that are really positive. They're positive about the work I do for asexuals. They're really nice, saying it's really good that someone like you in the world who's spreading the message of, you know, that, you know, asexuality and the type of relationships you have and stuff like this. You are so positive person to focus on. You are too positive a person to focus on pain. Exactly, Liam. Exactly. But why would any guy who's showing interest in me say stuff like that? It just seems really weird. It's like, why am I going to be interested long term in talking to a guy who's just saying stuff like that, you know? It's just bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. It's like, it's not really going to make me want to continue talking to him, is it? It's just going to make me think, well, if you're going to say is miserable stuff when I speak to you and negative stuff and encourage me to be negative, it's just going to turn me off from talking to you, because I'm just going to get fed up with it. It's like, why would I want that in my life, you know? It's very important and get, you know, to remain positive. You know, there's so much negativity going out on the world at the moment. You don't need more of it. You need to be focusing on good, positive things, things that can, you know, have a positive impact. You know, love and kindness and caringness. The world needs more of that, you know, not less. And we shouldn't be focusing on negativity. We should be focused on positive. You can't, you know, you can't change someone's negativity unless you just, you know, like change, you know, like change the way you react to them, or, you know, or just leave their life if they're going to be like that, you know. But you know, like, we can't unfortunately control things that are happening in the world. We can only control our own world and the people we influence and who are around us. But I'm thankful and grateful that, like I said, I've got quite a lot of new Facebook friends who and followers who are really positive. They're really saying that it's wonderful the work I do for asexuals, and that, you know, that it's a really good thing, and that, you know, and it's a good thing that I'm asexual, and asexuality is a good thing. And, you know, it's good to, I'm spreading awareness of asexual type of relationships and things like that, and I'm so pleased about that. Hello to all these new followers and friends. Some of these friends are friends with one of my really good friends, so yeah, it's really nice to have that, especially these people I don't think are asexual themselves. So it's just really nice to have that acceptance and you know, and that type of you know, that type of acknowledgement. So I thank them for that a lot. So anyway, to sum up then, Dirty Dancing, if you don't mind sexy stuff, then yeah, watch this movie. You are needed in this world, Sandra. You have an amazing message for the world. Oh, thank you. I have lots of love. Yeah, it's nice. I think it's really good when you got people who are positive that have just come into your life. You know, the world needs more of these. These people are so really, really nice in what they're saying about the work I do for asexuals, about everything I'm doing. You know, and it's really nice that they're strangers, really, and they've come with a really good attitude towards me and the work I do. So, you know, it just shows you that not everyone is, you know, not good. Some people are really good in this world. And, you know, and also one of them was saying, because I was saying about unfortunately large girls are still getting like a lot of a rough deal, and this one woman, new following friend, she's like, well, it's sad that people are like that. More people should be focusing relationships and love on personality, not just looks. You know, it's sad people are still like that these days, and I think it is, you know, more, I think it's kind of male chauvinists, misogynists, and guys that really, you know, like, think a woman's place is to obey them and to be a slave to them and God knows what else, you know. I mean, my dad loves my mum. My mum isn't huge. She's probably thinner than me. You know, yeah, quite a bit probably, but she's taller than me. And so, you know, but, you know, she's not completely skinny either, and he loves her the way she is, you know. He doesn't go on about stuff like that. He loves the way my mum looks. He always has done, you know. And so, you know, that's very beautiful. I like that about my dad. He's very dedicated to my mum in that way and loves her looks. He's always liked her looks, however size she is, you know. So that's really good, you know. That's true love. But you know, like going back to this movie, like if you're an asexual person who's sex repulsed, wouldn't recommend this unless you have lots of breaks during it and be prepared to see some sexual sexy stuff. But there is no full on like orgasmic type stuff. It's more like touching, a lot of sexual contact and touching. But you know, if you're sex repulsed asexual, then probably you wouldn't like this film. Will find it very difficult to watch. But I'm sex repulsed, but I'm sex repulsed for me, but not for others. And I've had sex in the past, so I can hack this. If you love dancing though, and you love dirty dancing, you're gonna love this movie. If you love a good love story, you're gonna love this movie probably. Yeah, and so there's, you know, there's good stuff about this movie and not so good stuff. But I would still think it's a good movie to watch. I would still watch it again. I've always loved this movie, particularly for the dancing. You know, and so yeah, if you don't mind sexy dancing, very sexual sexy dancing, then watch this. If you hate that type of thing, do not watch it. And find one of my no sex movie reviews to watch. No sex movies that I've reviewed to watch one of them instead. It's much better for you. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Thank you so much for watching. Lots of love, Liam, and everyone else that's tuned in today. I look forward to seeing you next video live stream. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Don't forget to share it with any friends who may benefit from it. And don't forget to give, like I said, this video a like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live and I'll post a new video. Lots of love. And thanks for being here, everyone. I know there was another person besides Liam in chat, you know, that was here earlier as well. Liam says, love you, Sandra, bye-bye. And there was someone else who, Shy Cat was on here as well. So thank you so much. Lots of love. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye. Lots of love. Bye.